we will start the second panel. The second panel is on industrial relations, and we all know what a big issue it is today. We never, possibly some of us didn't think that it would turn out to be another big issue. And we had possibly forgotten about it. B schools stopped teaching it, except XLRI. And you'll be surprised to know that many of our panelists are XLRI. You could actually start an alumni association here from the panel on the stage. So for this panel, may I call upon Mr. Harbhajan Singh from Honda Motorcycles and Scooters, India. Some applause, please, for Mr. Harbhajan Singh. Mr. Singh is the Vice President, General and Corporate Affairs of HMSI. We journalists tend to call it HMSI, and then people look at us, sorry, HMSI is Honda Motorcycles and Scooter, and it's different from Hero, right? Okay. So it is India's second largest two-wheeler manufacturer when you put motorcycles and scooters together. And I think most of us will know that HMSI has faced some labor trouble in recent times. And Mr. Singh actually was called in to diffuse some of that heat from the company a few years ago. And Mr. Singh looks after HR, he looks after IR, administration, legal and secretariat, internal audit, medical, security, CSR, and corporate affairs. My God, that's a lot. Okay. But the most interesting part is that Mr. Singh was actually a union leader. And he used to head the Tata Steel, Tata Employees Union for several years before he came to HMSI. So now he's on the management side. So you can gherao him after this. Right? Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for joining us. May I now call upon Mr. Pani, Mr. U.P. Pani from NTPC. Mr. Pani is the Director HR of NTPC. We all know NTPC. I mean, we all know all the companies that are here today. So NTPC is India's biggest power producer by a large margin. And Mr. Pani himself looks after HR and the Power Management Institute and several other corporate functions. So let me just list this out. Industrial safety, resettlement and rehabilitation, corporate social responsibility, medical services, corporate security, coordination. That also is a lot, Mr. Pani. Really, thank you very much for agreeing to join us on this panel. Then may I call upon Dr. Basrai, Dr. Akhil Basrai. Dr. Basrai looks his experience, yeah? He's got 39 years of experience in HR and IR, and he's very, very well known in those circles. And Dr. Basrai and Mr. Singh are both from XLRI. And so is Mr. Samik Basu, who has so graciously agreed to join us on this panel as well. So Dr. Basrai is multi-qualified. He has a degree in commerce, an MBA in HR, a postgraduate degree in law, and a postgraduate diploma in training and development. And he got a PhD in April 2012. I need to ask you what your thesis was on, maybe after this discussion is over. So he's worked with companies like IBM, with Motorola, Unilever, and Shell in countries like Kenya, Malaysia, and India, of course. There's a wealth of experience in HR and IR as well. So is Mr. Basu back? Yes. Can I have you back, sir? And Mr. Dwarkanath, who has also so graciously agreed to join this panel. This is going to be a cracking discussion. And I hope the audience asks more questions this time. We had 3 questions, of which 2 were from business today. Yeah, so you should join the panel. And given that this is an industrial relations, I'm sure all of you will have a lot of questions to ask.
Thank you all for coming today, this evening. And it was very exciting when we thought of this subject. And it was even more interesting that so many of you you were so passionate about industrial relations and wanted to talk about it. So it's very heartening, and warm welcome to all of you. We've seen a spate of problems across factories, across many of the locations across India. Some of them have had very sad results, as we know of, in the case of Maruti. So we thought it is important when we were having this three-city session last time, and we talked about how young leaders need to be trained in the context of working in factories, and it was suggested to us that we actually take up the topic of industrial relations, and we talk about how young managers are they ready really? Are they prepared to take on this whole thing of industrial relations? And many of the colleges that we speak to say that many students don't opt for this subject. When we go and speak to many of the HR leaders and we ask them what led to the problem, we hear about the disconnect that is there between the HR head, the leadership and the workers. So we come across many set of problems in this space. So I would like to throw open this session and ask each one of you, what is it that really you want to talk about this whole space of managers being ready for industrial relations? Samik, maybe you can start off, and I will go through each of you to learn, what is the subject that's really haunting you when it comes to industrial relations.
Sure. So my perspective is that, I was just talking there when I started working, or some of the earlier panelists as well as some of the panelists here. All of us have spent 10 plus years in doing plant HR kind of roles. Today, with young professionals, that's not something which most people aspire for. And I think this became even greater in those days of 8% GDP growth. So what happened in between for a period of time, especially in manufacturing, when growth became very high, I think that took over. And the labor relations suddenly started looking not so critical. The number of strikes reduced, and employment was going up, and the number of issues were not as many. And the whole focus on this area kind of went down. And then, as growth started tapering a bit, and also we had some of the incidences that we did over the last few years, the whole importance of industrial relations or labor relations, whatever you might call it, has gone up tremendously again. The other phenomena that I've observed over the last couple of years in particular is that historically IR was always a very local topic. It was about dealing with a local union, a regional union, or maybe a federation at most if you go back several years. But now suddenly IR has become very global. I have, fortunately, a good team. We have about 17 or 18 factories across the country, and I have, fortunately, a good team who manages all the settlements. I've been back in India for almost 4 years now. We haven't had a single strike and all of that. But what is taking up most of my time today is an issue which the IUF, which is the International Union of Food Workers, has raised about something which happened at a third-party warehouse in West Bengal. So my CEO, Indra Nui, has received more than 5,000 emails on that issue. There have been campaigns in Miami bus stations and railway stations about it, and it has been placed before the OECB. And so the whole field of industrial relations, especially for multinationals, from being very, very local, has suddenly become very global. But also what I have observed, and I was also talking about it on the sidelines just before this, is that now suddenly I'm finding, we have always been insisting with our HR management trainees that your first couple of stints have to be field stints, because that's where you really learn about the business. How do we make our products? How do we sell our products? So you do a sales HR role or a plant HR role. And 3-4 years back, we were struggling to get enough people really excited about those roles, and people were doing more of a tick the box exercise. But over the last couple of years, I'm suddenly finding that a lot of people, after doing one plant role, want to do a second plant IR role, and they want to. Some of them have worked, for instance, in a non-unionized plant. They now want to work in a unionized plant, and get the experience of dealing with a union, signing a settlement, and even better, and there are a lot of women who are also interested in doing these roles. Suddenly, I'm finding, and that's very promising. So I think, I mean, that's been my perspective and recent experience on this whole area.
Yeah, so clearly it is not the domain of just manufacturing units, as Mr. Dwarkanath was pointing out. It's moving into different realms and spaces, and from, to MNCs, to the service sector, and what Dr. Akhil was pointing out, the white collar union, So let's talk about it. But, Mr. Pani, to come to you, is there some top thought that you have on this space, on this subject?
Let me tell you, I think all the panelists who are sitting here, they are all from private sector.
Yeah.
And I am working in one of the public sector company, where this role of IR has to be defined and understood very clearly. First of all, there can't be one solution or one solution to a typical problem. We are a company, regulated company. I mean, our return on investment is fixed. Even if I try to maximize I don't have any means to maximize my profit. That is the reason why my shares don't go up very rapidly, number one. Number two, you have to understand in a public sector, what is the working style. Like I was just joined you in the last session when the discussion was going on, how a younger man jumps over to the older fellow and she was asking, they feel hurt and all. This will probably not happen in a government sector setup. Maybe people will cross over to peers at a particular time in a very higher level. The philosophy of working of a public sector, especially, you start, I mean, suppose take for NTPC, I am giving the example, I have got around 24,900 employees in this across the company. We are operating around 57 locations in the country, right from pan India. You see the mix. I got almost 14,000 officers vis-a-vis 10,900 workers. So my IR is not handling the workers, because my worker force is lesser than the executive force available with me. So my IR will be more of a taking the younger group, especially the JNY employees, who are not very keen to stay at all remote places. We know most of our plants are located at very, very remote places, not well connected, and especially JNY boys and girls, they would be looking for an employment, preferably, of course, a white collar job, and not trying to, if I am working in a thermal plant, probably that is a professional hazard of getting polluted. I mean, I have to work in a coal handling plant, I have to work in ash handling plant, and definitely I have to spoil my clothes as well as spoil my health also. This is a big challenge which is coming in the public sector, where we do find people not very attracted towards this type of job, number one. Number two, we have problems varying from the IR problem in the setting of a project is totally different. If you are seeing the land acquisition issues today, every farmer wants to make a pound of flesh. I mean, if the rate is really 5 lakhs, they want 25, 30, 45 lakhs per acre. No organization, no institute, be it IIM, ABC or whatever you say, XISS, or all those institutes who teach you MBA, they teach you how to handle the issue. Tell me, which university has handled? Professionally, I am not HR guy. I am a pure electrical engineering student, passed from BITS Pilani in 78 and joined NTPC on the same year, and worked at various projects. This is my, before joining as Director HR, I have worked at 9 projects in NTPC, and right from the scratch. The issues are different. No MBA teaches you how to handle all these issues.
You have to learn on the job, you're saying.
Obviously, there is no, first of all, your curriculum is defective. Nobody tells you how to handle these issues. And your entire MBA, IR, strategy, whatever you say, in the best of your institute, I have seen the best of my boys with me, and virtually I have told them better you quit this job, because this is not the place for you. You come with a very high expectation, but you don't get me a result which is absolutely making a report and doing some photocopy. That is not the intent I have.
So actually, in a sense, you're talking about how equipped really, very few are really equipped, you're saying.
This course has to be all changed. This course I've been, tell me what is the point in rotting those IR regulations, labor laws, when there is hardly any labor left in the country. It is only why do you need so? You keep on asking 20 questions, clause 35 in my director's interview, somebody asked what is the clause 13.5. See, as far as getting a post or getting a elevation, you can always mug that. Is it of any use? You have to understand the intelligence level of the person whom you handle. What he wants. He doesn't want all those clauses. You want to tell him that 8 hours duty, he would be looking for something else. Today's boys, they are all computer savvy. They don't want, they will not get satisfied how much money you pay. They want certain connectivity, that social networking. That's much more important than, see, when I was young, probably nothing was seen to me other than plant. But that's not going, I even can't tell my son you do that. He says, hey, you are a stupid fellow, you all lost your life. That's not the way. That's the life. That is all the major challenge is that accept the changes of life and handle them as it comes. Without any HR background, you can always handle. So I should say sorry to any institute guys who are here. Either they please rectify your course curriculum. Otherwise, believe me, after I have joined, I have stopped recruiting all campus interview. And first of all, not recruited a single HR officers for last 2 years I have joined. I told, why do I need HR officers? These are the engineers, tell them whether you can do it, please come to HR. When your director HR can do it, you also can do it. There is nothing great thing of learning and getting the, when I joined here, I saw 8 bright IIM guys with me from IIM ABC and virtually doing nothing and making some report. Even that for a ordinary graduate can do. Why do you need IIM to make a, when they cannot understand and appreciate the problem unless you really fall into that problem. I think I was just discussing Mr. Singh that he had known NTPC from a long time back. We must able to know the ground reality. The boys and girls must know how to handle challenges, and then all your IR issues will all fall in line. There is nothing, it is not a rocket science. First of all, you have to give a full-hearted, dedicated service to the company. I think that is totally missing. And if I get opportunity to meet some of the institute guys, I must go and tell them, please change your style, otherwise there will be no future in any of the government companies, I can tell. Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Dwarkanath, you want to take up on that? Really, there is nothing that can train you for industrial relations. You need to be on the job. You need to learn on the spot. And, you know.
I think it's not only, I agree partly what Mr. Panier said. I think you don't require degrees or MBAs or to be trained in a particular institutes to learn the skills. But I think it's important that it applies equally to HR. I mean, a line manager can be a great HR manager. So I think, you know, it's not the point. I think firstly, let me compliment business today for very boldly taking up the employee relations. And thanks for inviting me, though I was not in the original. Because I think it's important. It is not just, we are not talking about HR guys here. We are talking for any business manager. If you want to really to grow, apart from understanding his domain skills, how do you engage with people? How do you connect with people? How do you motivate with people? How do you address their conflict resolutions? How do you handle their grievances? How do you counsel them, coach them? These are all part of the game. So I think, you know, what it teaches, you know, I said, I spent 42 years. I think the first Geravo took place in the company where I worked. And I understand from this, it doesn't mean that, you know, you need to, employee relations are those who like it because they've gone through the plants or sales. I agree with Shramik. I think if you wanted a rounded ability as a manager, I'm not just saying HR manager, as a manager you need to do different facets. Unless you connect with the field force or you don't connect with the factory workmen, you will not be able to lay down the policies. When we hire guys, for GSK or for Max from the campuses, ask any HR guy, he said, where do you want to do? I want to do talent management. I want to leadership development. And nobody is interested to go to employee relations. I'm glad that Shramik is saying, I'm out of touch in last 3-4 years, that people are showing interest. It's important, you know, I think I want to give this message very clearly. If you want to get a rounded experience, you want to take a leadership role, it's very important that you need to get engaged with employee relations. But I think, you know, the mistake most of HR directors and others do is, they don't, because most of them lack that experience or the appreciation or perspective, they don't tell them what
What curriculums do, it's a different matter. It's also requires correction. But what is important as an experience, as a as a HR head or a functional head, you don't tell them what employee relations means. Employee relations doesn't mean labor laws alone. Employee relations doesn't mean blue collar workers grievances. It is not only labor and union management. I think I learned all my employee relations, which I stopped doing it about 10 or 15 years back. But whatever they taught me to do OD or learning and development or talent management, acquired the skills from that. It's a fascinating experiences when you are a plant HR manager running about 20,000 people, farmers and so on, the society. You gain a lot of leadership and administrative skills. But I think, we miss the point because we think people are afraid. And secondly, the point we are making, I just want to make one suggestion there. It is not that employee relations have become bad in the last few years. It is never so bad what it was in 70s. But I think this media and other technology which is making people to aware incidents. Many incidents happen at that time. Much more incidents have happened at that time. But I think at least I'm glad that medias have brought this attention. Now people have become, oh, this has happened in this. But here I just want to add one aspect. I think, Ms. Pani is coming from the NTPC, public sector manufacturing. My message to youngsters is, don't confine employee relations only to manufacturing sector. I think, you have not seen the other side of the coin. I'm only concerned and worried if the managers, whether HR or a line manager or a technical manager, if it is not equipped how to handle with people, the problems you face from the workforce, which are more educated, cultured, white-collar workmen. You see sometimes in banks, sometimes airlines only strike. But service industry, BPO, call centers, all this can create huge damage to Indian GDP and growth and also labor relations. We don't know how to handle. When junior doctors went on strike, people didn't know how to handle it. So my message is, you should take it as a part of the holistic approach to the management. It is imperative for any business manager or a HR manager to appreciate and understand the principles of employee relations.
Coming to you, yeah, I know that's a scary picture that, people don't want to be in this space, and two, very few are equipped to even think in terms of this problem beyond the labor and manufacturing environment. What do you have to say on this subject?
Somebody, I feel that HR is the only profession where we have labeled in decades. So 60s was labeled as welfare was the work of HR. Then came the 70s, which was industrial relations and labor unrest. Then came 80s and this change management. HR must play a role of a change management. So everybody went after being change management. Then came the 90s and current times that we must become business partners. We don't go to tell finance people which decades they should focus on. But yet in HR, we have actually done a prophecy, self-fulfilling prophecy of defining this is what is expected out of you. As a result of that, industrial relations has now become obsolete. And it's become a low-end priority for any young people. You go to campuses, you meet the people, what they want to do, I want to do OD. And you say, what is OD? So, oh, you don't know OD, organization development. Which Jurassic Park do you come from? And then you say, but how about a stint in industrial relations? And this is the answer. Sir, in our times, we don't do that. That means you were idiots to have spent years in doing industrial relations. My first Gherao was I was 23 and a half in Calcutta. And like Dwarka Garu said, because of the industrial relations, I learned OD, I learned human resources through industrial relations. I'm not bragging that it is the right thing to do. But the fact is that having lost the focus, IR has not become or is not seen as a sexy part of HR. And there's a very vicious circle. Good people are not coming in. We don't need IR specialists, and I totally agree with Mr. Pani that line managers should manage people issues, not specialists who are only trained to manage people issues. But again, there's a misconception that employee relation or unionization happens with blue-collar workers, low strata of the society. I come from IT's background of Motorola and IBM, also part, again, for manufacturing from Unilever.
Yes, and you have a global experience.
But the fact is that we are ignoring the very hidden likelihood of a danger of white-collar unions. We feel unions are not formed by educated people, not people sitting in this room, not people who are educated, come from an upper strata of society. But the unions of future, or agitations, or demands, or industrial relations will not happen in agitations. They will not happen with gheraos and manifestation of outward sign. Digital forums, and I've had this experience in 2006 when I came back from Malaysia. We were separating something like 700 odd people based on very transparent, merit-driven process. There was a time before Facebook, if you remember Orkut. Remember, many of you people remember Orkut? There's a group formed in Orkut which was trafficking news about how they are. If that is not union, what is? One of my young HR manager in my team, she picked up this conversation to say they were coming to one of our offices with media and parents. Now, what we are forgetting is that tomorrow's industrial relations will require not labor law. I totally agree with you, sir. We don't have to know which section. Who cares? Lawyers are paid to do that. But we need to focus as engagement with people as a hallmark for industrial relation future. Who's listening to employees? We are becoming, sometime, I'm all for gadgets and all for tech-savvy approach, but we are not listening to people. Everything go to net and see it. In the factories, if you remember Dwarka Garu, if a worker came to my office in Dalda factory in Calcutta, I distinctly remember, we had this pigeonhole outside my office where all the forms were kept. Somebody comes, I want a leave application form. That is there outside. My office staff is there to give that form. They have not come for leave application. They've come to talk. And when they sit down and you listen, he goes back without a leave form. Today, we are missing out engaging with people and listening because we are becoming either too smart or too tech-savvy, or we feel that nothing will happen. As long as you pay them well, give them recognition, give them reward, give them promotion, nothing will happen. I think employee relations, and I'm really would like to add my compliments to Business Today because this is one area which we need to bring back to limelight. It is not just because it's required, it is a business imperative. If we don't do this particular aspect well, business will suffer.
True. One of the problems that did come up was the disconnect between what the workers were feeling and saying and their voice not really reaching to the leadership. So it was almost like the leadership sitting in an ivory tower, and at some level the work was happening and the problem was being generated and there was a big gap, and the rage sort of. What is your experience, Mr. Harbhajan Singh? You walked both sides of this space, and it's important to have your view. What do you think? Is it most of the times that simple touch point that's missing that leads to the problem, the disconnect that happens, and how organizations really are they ready? Are they sort of listening to this discontent at some level, or it happens only when the problem flares up?
It is like this that, when I look at the question that how equipped is today's HR managers to handle industrial relations, I think they are very well equipped. Means I see a great future in the youth of the country, and I don't think that I am more intelligent or more wise because of my experiences. See, IR is one thing which is totally, context based. What works at one place may not be working at another place. See, for me, means I started as a mazdoor. So I have experienced the pain of the hard work and what it means and how it feels when you are not extended humane treatment. See, most of the places, it is basically because of some communication gap, some credibility gap, and lack of compassion. See, manufacturing is a totally different ball game. Service sector is a different ball game. And I tell you, even people in manufacturing, nowadays you will find that when a strike takes place in the region of Manesar or Gurgaon, people don't strike outside the company. They sit inside the plants and take control of the entire factory, and then it becomes a big problem how to take them out of the plant premises, and they become a big threat. Because such a expensive machinery is at stake, means if the, and most of the places you will find, people are more concerned about the militancy which is now increasing in industrial relations. There was a very high level of militancies in 70s, but then
True.
it had submerged. But now again it is picking up. So, see, I would like to say that how we handle people and whether, and there is a risk element involved in it. See, I will share with you a very small real life experience. See, I came and joined Honda Motorcycle and Scooters India after 2005 Lathi Charge incidents in Gurgaon. And I was the sitting vice president of Tata Workers Union at that point of time. So for people it is a job change, for me it is a paradigm shift. So maybe the opportunity was there because none of the stalwarts of industrial relations were willing to come and take this assignment, so the doors were open for me. And then I did the first settlement in 2006 and second settlement in 2009. When I was doing the second settlement in 2009, one of the, first I will tell you about the demand that was raised. The demand was, give us an increase of 2 lakh rupees per person per month. So I called the meeting of the union. I said, what is the logic behind such a demand? He said, अरे साहब आपको 2 लाख रुपया मिलता है महीना का, तो हम लोग को क्यों नहीं मिलेगा? So I said, but I am the only general manager in the company. So I can extend 2 lakh rupees to one of your president or general secretary or whomsoever you say, and let us finish the agreement. They said, no, no, हमको तो 2 लाख रुपए हर employee, हर member के लिए चाहिए, and there were 2,000 permanent employees. So I told, अच्छा ये board में लिखो यार कितना amount होगा. So it took 15-20 minutes to come at the right figure. And then after 4 or 5 days, because there was some confrontation going on, one of the union leaders started saying, इसको तो जब तक, इसका तो जब तक काम नहीं होगा तब तक यहाँ पर कुछ शांति होने वाली नहीं है और settlement होने वाला नहीं है. So I gave a very deep thought to it, and I don't take much chances. I am a very weak man from inside. So I move with gunmen and everything in place. So because I know the lot which I am handling. So I left all my security guys, drivers, and I drove to the house of that person who was telling all around that he has to be eliminated if we have to do the settlement. And I go to him, he opens the door. It is November, and then he says, why have you come here? October, in fact. I said, आपसे बात करनी है. And he says, बात तो office में भी हो सकती है. Why have you come here? I said, no, I want to talk to you. So I insist, and he takes me inside. He said, क्या बात है? I said, you are telling everybody कि इसको जब तक नहीं मारेंगे तब तक सेटलमेंट नहीं होगा. तो हम तुम्हारे घर आ गए, हम सोचे कहाँ इधर उधर खोजते रहोगे यार, तुम हमको मार लो और कल 2 लाख रुपया हर एम्प्लॉय को मिल जाएगा. एंड देन ही सेज, हम तो ऐसा बोले ही नहीं थे. आई सेड, बहुत अच्छी बात है, तब चाय पिलाओ चले जाते हैं. एंड व्हेन आई वाज सेइंग दिस, देयर वाज ए ओल्ड वुमन स्टैंडिंग देयर. शी कम्स इनसाइड. सो आई आस्क हिम, कौन है? तो शी सेज, मेरी दादी है. आई गेट अप एंड टच हर फीट. एंड शी सेज, चिरंजीवी भव. मैंने कहा, माता ये तो अभी बोल रहा था उड़ा देंगे, तुम बोल रही हो चिरंजीवी भव. And in the meantime, a young lady comes with a tray and tea. And I ask him, who is she? So he becomes slightly offended. हमारी पत्नी है. I said, भाई ऐसा है ना, they are your family. अगर आप 1 घंटा घर लेट आते हो, तो they stand on the door to watch whether you have arrived or have you landed in some trouble. So I also have a family. So they must be worried now कि where I am at 10:30 in the night without guards and all. And I said, you have a role to perform as a union leader. I had been union leader for last 17-18 years. And जितनी तुम्हारी उम्र नहीं है उतने साल का मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है इंडस्ट्री का. Nobody gives you power or right to claim as a union leader कि आपको मार देंगे, इसको मार देंगे, इसको ये कर देंगे. The misconception many a time creates lot of problems. And then that guy says, sir कुछ रास्ता बताइए. Then we said, but किसी को बोलिएगा नहीं कि आप मेरा घर आए थे. नहीं तो अदरवाइज पीपल विल ब्रांड के ये इसका ब्रेन वॉश कर दिया और ये मैनेजमेंट का चमचा हो गया. इट टुक मी ऑलमोस्ट अनदर 15-20 days to break the ice, and finally we settled that settlement for 4,500 rupees per month per employee for a period of 3 years. Now I don't know whether the people, youngsters, I know they can take much bigger risks, but you have to be compassionate with people, sir. Every day on my table the list of the people comes who get admitted in hospitals. We have cashless facilities. I make it a point to touch them. Earlier I used to go personally. Now I make it a point at least to touch them over the phone or send somebody to just ask them if they are okay or not. That is what makes the difference, sir. If there are 2,000 people, I know almost 1,500 by their first name. Are you just doing a lip service, or are you honest with people? What you are will ring in their ears. You will have to earn your respect as a IR man, and it has to be mutual trust. And credibility does not get built up in a day. It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
And I'm not surprised by many people are not volunteering for this role that you have. It's not easy to sort of go to a person's house who's threatened you. You know, would you want to take up on that? I mean, clearly that's something that's not going to go away. We talk about this problem in the service sector. We talk about it in the IT sector. All of that is fine. But this phase of strife, let's call it strife, not necessarily to do with manufacturing sector, but this phase is not going to go away.
No, it's not, certainly not going to disappear overnight or on its own. But I think the difference I would bring, Shamini, is that IR has been seen as a very reactive function. When something happens, then people go and fix it. We have to very consciously engage with people and proactively anticipate what is likely to go wrong. And if we don't do engagement with people, listen to them, and I like your idea, Harbhajan, about keeping in touch with people and at least knowing where they are or what they're doing and being accessible. I think one of the basic traits that will influence good industrial relation is people feeling that they are individually respected, that they have somebody to go to if they have an issue to talk or worrisome. It's only when they find that nobody listens is that they find that they could go to a group of people who will, for their own interest, and we were talking, Anu, before this meeting, that how outsiders can take advantage of a situation that today contract labor is a live bomb we are all sitting on. And we are not really paying that much attention that how are we treating, how are we paying, how are we allocating work to contract labor, third-party people. Because one of the basic foundation of getting third-party people is that I don't take the responsibility. Let somebody else do it. Now, moment we abdicate our responsibility to manage workforce, whether ours or third-party, we are actually inviting trouble. And in that case...
But do you find the leadership today sensitized to this, Mr. Dwarkanath? Do you find...
I think I was just coming to that to you. I think it's very important. What I find is lacking is, I think is all great anecdotes and experiences. I think, top-down approach is required for IR. I mean, what Akhil was talking about, the philosophy, how you want to organize. I think, unfortunately, very few companies have very articulated employee relations policy. See, why people have, there's a lot of reaction, as Akhil Bhai was saying. There is a violence, there was a stoppage of work, there was a lockout, then the board of directors, everybody is involved. What Samik was also saying earlier. But why can't be a systematic policy like you do talent management, you do succession planning? How many boards or how many management groups at that level considered employee relations is a backbone of any organization? I'm just saying, just see, I started my management trainee DCM first posting Calcutta. I had the fortune of being Garrod. Is it as a live experience? But I think, what happened to all the multinational companies of Calcutta? Virtually most of them have vanished because of labor problems. You see Metal Box, Dunlop, and so on and so forth. All have gone mainly. What is it teaches? I think, we awake only when some incidents happen, either violence or otherwise, or a strike or a long. I think, the moment at the board level or the management level, you think proactively do it, 50% of these problems can be nipped in the bud. And then the approach would be very different. I think one point which I want to add here, I think I don't want to leave a confusion from this panel. I could see that we are not saying IR managers should be only guys who are HR professionally qualified. I mean, it's not the question.
Not at all. In fact, it's important to have a business connect.
I think business connect. I would say some of the best managers can come from the shop floor, from other places, from businesses. But I think, you need to equip them. the skills of the behavioral science, the training and the approach, which some of them you learn from experience, some of them you need to tell them and teach them and come back, role modeling, sitting in the shadowing and all. I learned all my work at the age of 23, sitting with Jyoti Basu, Bhupesh Gupta and Haridas Malkar and Chagi and so on, because my bosses were dealing with it. I think that is important. You need to have a patience, you need to learn from experiences, storytelling, then only you will become a rounded good business manager.
Yeah, Mr. Pani, you want to talk?
I was just, I think they have touched the right issue. One is that employee relation policies. It is absolutely required to make a transparent employee relation policy, very crystal clear, and follow it 100% with transparency. Don't try to have a discrimination, number one. Number two, of course, as I told you earlier, you have to jump into the well to know how depth the water. I think most of the officers in HR I could see these days, they just don't want to jump to the well. They want to sit at they want to stay at a satellite and try to control the earth. That's not possible. You have to get into the earth to know the problem of the issues to involve. Plus, I think today the level of intelligence is quite high. You must be able to take this group and pose a problem. I think 15 days back we had an issue of medical facilities. I think Mr. Singh told. You'll be surprised to know that we have an employee of 24,900 and our referral expenditure outside NTPC hospitals is almost 200 crores a annum. You can't believe 200 crores a annum. Apart from that, I have doctors whose salary is 212 crores. So 70,000 crores turnover, spending 400 odd crores in medical. When they asked the problem to me, I was almost addressing a gathering of 1,000 people in one of the stations. I gave this feedback. I told, please tell me what you want. If you are in my position, whether you will to support or you simply drain out the money and forget about your post-retirement medical benefit. All of us are going to stand and queue and look for some CSR initiative of the company. They must understand, they must appreciate, and they must be told where is the truth. Occasionally, just to show our own greatness, we don't disclose.
True, but I would want to stop you there. I mean, given that you've learned through the paces, you are in engineering.
So, and at times you have to take the risk, because there may be people who may be very unreasonable or who may try to harm the organization. Then you have to be prepared to face the risk, because at the workplace you are handling 10,000 people. They have their own aspirations, their own political angles, and so you have to be a risk taker. And बहुत सीधा आदमी IR में चलता नहीं है मैडम. जंगल में जो पेड़ सबसे सीधा रहता है सबसे पहले काटा जाता है. So you have to be slightly manipulated.
I have a different take, ma'am. I feel, I won't say competency, but I think what is required is two qualities. One is you must be passionate about this, like any other job. It's not that IR, you have to be more passionate. But passionate to the point that you can stand up in the management decision table and say, become literally a union leader of the employees as being a senior manager and speak up that what we are doing is not going to work. Courage of conviction. I feel in industry relation, more than any other function in HR, you must have the courage of conviction, because normally at that meeting of decision makers, HR people, like many other managers, would like to go with the authority, will go like to be seen as a very amiable, agreeable person. But if you are a union leader in the management in a closed room, after the decision is taken, then you go and implement, even if it's against your own wishes. I feel there's a very clear mind is required in IR, that if you're not convinced about what you're doing, don't be in IR.
I think just to supplement, I think what I said, I mean, you can call competencies or traits and all that. I think that two traits are very important. One is, I think, you may say, why, how come IR is so different from others? I'm saying every function, every domain has got its own strengths and areas you need to focus. One thing which, IR is what I call the concept of art of tough love. You need to be tough on issues, but soft on people. How do you do it? I mean, I'm saying, I just want to give you an anecdote. I was a young plant manager at the age of 29. I think there are a lot of absenteeism. I think, I was following the rule book. I talked to the unions. We started, after giving reasonable opportunities, we started terminating them because they were They were habitual offenders. It's very, especially when you're in a small place in a manufacturing says what Mr. Singh was talking about, these are realities of life. I used to step out. My son was 3 years old. He used to come to say bye when I was leaving for office. And before I get into my car, one lady used to fall on my feet every day with a child. Please, bachao. I think husband was sacked and he wanted to do it. My 3-year-old son told me, Papa ne kya karta hai job, every day somebody falls. What is wrong? It is an emotional touch. It is not only with what you do with people outside, but how your family is there. I think it is what the art of tough love, because I don't want to name, you can guess the company where I work, gone through many mergers, and we have to take a call to retrench 5,000 people out of 10,000. It's not an easy job, but this is where you have to touch the courts of the people. When we have put a separation scheme, we have to understand the profiles of the people. This is where the common sense comes in. What touches their heart, when they were retiring the ages of 52, 53. 2 things we said more than the money. We'll give you post-retirement medical benefits as an example. And secondly, we'll take care of children education. That touch the courts is not the numbers game. So I think, it's a fabulous and a fascinating exercises. You can do it. It's a very strategic, but you need to get into the hearts of the people, understand it, then only you would. So there is no one size fits all. These traits can keep shifting, but fundamentally, art of tough love and what I call psychic income. It is more than the money, how you deal with them, give the respect. You have to tell them that you don't have a job, but the way you deal it matters a lot.
Ma'am, it is something like your curriculum. You are in university. You teach so many cases on IR. If you see all journals, you will find a lot of GE cases of US and UK. Tell me, Mr. Singh has settled 2 lakhs to 4,500. What is the document? No document. It is Mr. Singh is there. He has the style. He brought it down from 2 lakhs to 4,500 without any document available in this country. That's the biggest problem for your universities. You pick up cases which are highly unrealistic in this country. And here the best IR professionals, unfortunately in India, we don't document it, or we don't pass on that to our university to take it up as the current cases. Many difficult cases people have settled. You come through paper, you come through magazines, but it doesn't reach to your curriculum to teach people how to handle those cases. We all talk about GE cases in US and some other motor company in US. It doesn't really make sense in this country, but we teach them in all IIMs. This is another big issue for our Indian universities.
Yeah, there's a gentleman there. Yes.
My name is Ascent Sharma. I am advisor in a small factory for the marketing. My question is to Mr. Harbhajan Singh, since he belongs to a manufacturing sector, and now the present Prime Minister is emphasizing made in India. You see, the Contract Labour Act, to me, it is solely responsible for creating bad relations between the management and the workers. The general manager killed in Maruti was this Labour Contract Act. You get the work, same kind of work. One you pay 25,000, the other he pays 50,000. There are 25,000 teachers in Delhi who are working in contract. And last time Kejriwal assured them that he will regularize, and he didn't do it. So there is a lot of this thing. Don't you think we want more Harbhajan Singhs? Which our university college should create more Harbhajan Singh so that there should not be any.
So I think basically what he's trying to say is that how do you groom talent like you? Do you do that?
See, I am also a product of the university, by the way. I passed out from XLRA in 1997. And in spite of being a XLRA alumni, I continued in the union till 2005. So I did my learning and everything, and I completed my homework before I took over such challenging assignments. Second thing I will tell you, sir, the biggest patriot in this country is the one who offers employment to somebody. If you offer employment even to a maidservant, you provide her a livelihood. The government, unfortunately, has lot of schemes, but they don't boil down. I will tell you one experience. One guy came with a letter from one politician to me. That means we keep on receiving letters. I keep on receiving at least 10, 20 CVs on an average. So I didn't found that he was deserving. So I told my manager, tell him that we will look into his case later. So he again goes to the very important person in the hierarchy and tells him, जी उन्होंने तो मेरी इज्जत ही नहीं की. And he calls me, अरे यार job नहीं देना, कम से कम व्यवहार तो ठीक रखो. I said, no, sir, it was my manager, आप फिर भेज दीजिए. He again comes. I said, यार तुम्हें नौकरी हमारे पास करनी है, why don't you get the job from the minister who has sent you? He said, देखिए सर, मिनिस्टर चिट्ठी तो दे सकता है, नौकरी नहीं दे सकता. So the thing is that industry is one which provides employment within the business constraints that it can offer. I tell you why is the contract labor employment gained more numbers, contract labor numbers went more, and the permanent numbers came down in the industry. In India, the minute you become permanent, you start getting governed by Industrial Disputes Act. It is even if you do indiscipline, to show you the door, it is such a cumbersome process that it can really, waste lot of your time. And then I tell you honestly the real story. When I joined, the very first week, one union leader comes and tells me, आज फलाने का हमने कंबल पिटाई किया है. वो गद्दार था. I said, गद्दार? मैं समझा नहीं. बोला, we have made the list of the people who have worked during strike and we call them gaddars. I said, don't do this. Violence will not lead us anywhere. And he tells me, आप इसके बीच में मत पड़िए, नहीं तो 15 दिन से ज़्यादा नौकरी नहीं रहेगी ये कंपनी में. So I understood the message. And I changed my route. Then I made the list of all the people.
But the point is, are you training anyone under you to?
No, I will tell you what I did. Do you think I gave up? No. What I did, I made all the lists. How many Jats are working under me? How many Yadavs are working under me? This may appear to be very foolish and useless and casteist approach to this august audience, but on the grassroots, these are the things which hold lot of power. And then I got in touch with one of the guys who was the president of one particular community. And the next week, one person from his community was assaulted. And I called him up, तुम यार क्या चीज़ के ये वो तुम्हारे आदमी को पीट दिया. He said, is it so? He goes to the house of that guy, takes him to police station in which SHO is also from that community. They round off all these fellows and bring them to the police station. And they all give an undertaking. इसके साथ कुछ नहीं होगा. इसके साथ अन्याय नहीं होगा. इसके साथ कुछ भी हुआ तो we are responsible. And then the SHO is showing me that letter. देखिए सर इसने लिखा है, इसके ऊपर बिजली गिर जाए, इसको कुत्ता काट ले, हम जिम्मेवार होंगे. And the balls started reversing. So sir, it is all like you have to use your common sense. Many a times you don't have to face bluntly, but you have to put the things. जैसे लोग रहेंगे वैसे ही चलना होगा. वो ट्रक के पीछे लिखा रहता है ना, दम है तो पार कर, नहीं तो आराम कर. So you have to.
I think, Shamni, I thought you will raise this question. You touched upon gender diversity. I think, one aspect I think I want to touch here, just building on that, the common sense and other things. You see, we have got this, especially in India, employer relations meant only for gents, not for girls. I had the same perception. I need to very frankly confess, when I was in GSK, I went for campus XLRI looking for plant HR. I said only I will hire only boys. All the girls have come virtually garroted me. I said, why you are doing this? I said, you can't work beyond 7 in the night. And I've given all this, which is genuinely I felt. They said, no, it's wrong. I changed my mind. I said, I will hire. And I hired two girls. And they came out very well. And 2 girls, and put in the plant. After 2 years, the girls were working there. There was a garrow. And all people were garrowed, and these are only 2 girls inside in the HR. They went and told the union leader, said, Bahanji, aap ja sakta hai, aapke liye garrow lagu nahi hai. You know what these girls have said? He said, we will not go. We will go along with our colleagues. And they left everyone go. I think, it's a question. I think these are some of the mindset issues which people have. I find some of those people have done a splendid job in changing the whole thinking of the workforce in one of our plants. So I think, it's a question of prejudices and biases we start with. And so that is where employee relations get spoiled. But I think I agree all of this, but it's very important that we need to make these caselets, case studies, cascade down, which can
Groom people importantly, because
I think I would request business today can look for something like this. I mean, I think as a sort of a case studies or caselets or a quiz or something, which will be very, very interesting.
But your question, whether are we training the next generation in industrial relations, I think we need to do that more consciously, more structured manner. And yeah, in fact, I was telling Shramik and Anu earlier that some of us are working on a 2-day training program for industrial relations. And we want people, and I would invite any one of you who are interested, please join us. All we want to do is create a 2-day training module of 7 sections, which covers industrial relations, principles, law, simple, something very practical with case studies, with reading material. We will train 100 people in 5 cities. And with a commitment that they will train they will take 5 sessions or 2 days each, covering 100 people. By end of the year, we would have possibly covered 1,000 people, if not 1,000, at least 600. 600 line managers, and not necessarily HR managers. Line managers and HR managers will be now brought into industrial relations awareness. And that's your point, sir, that this is not specialty of some guy who gets in from XLRI or TISS, that only he or she can solve problem. I think once we agree to create some training material, documented case studies, Indian case studies, then we will be able to inculcate that excitement that industrial relation can provide as a career to the young people. And that's the only way contribution we can make to pass the baton to the young generation to say, come join, this is going to be great fun. And it will add value to business. It's not just because you'll be nicely having lovey-dovey relationship in the organization, or everybody is very friendly club atmosphere. We're not talking about that. This will improve productivity, it will improve business performance.
Sir, my last word will be to madam that sitting at Chennai, I tell somebody, भाई दिल्ली में बहुत ठंड हो रहा है, उसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आएगा. जब तक वो दिल्ली आएगा नहीं, उसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आएगा. वो लाइक बहुत ठंडा हो रहा है, होने दो, मेरे को क्या करना है. Actually, अभी जो सर जो HR strategy हो गया कि everybody has to sit in corporate office and control what's happening, that is not going to happen. Nobody wants to go and bail the cat. सब यहीं कंफर्ट का चक्री है, थोड़ा कंप्यूटर से भी है, वो कष्ट नहीं करना है, 8 घंटा गाड़ी में नहीं जाना है, सिटी बेस्ट होना है, वीकेंड में मॉल जाना है, ऑल दोज थिंग्स, ये आपको चेंज नहीं होने से आपका आईआर नहीं संभलेगा. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you very much. I don't think we have time for any more questions, but I'm sure the audience here, which has a lot of HR people and university people, will take a lot of learnings out of this discussion. You know, I predicted this would be a cracking discussion, and so I was right.